Hey guys. All right. Checking everything, making sure volume and everything is going good. All right, you guys. Know me and technology. Make sure I see the live showing up now. There we are. Okay. And let me just test. Okay, I hear me. All right, you guys, it's Sunday night, 9 p.m. As we said, I'm batting old man. I'm doing this thing right on time, and technology is working. So, tonight, special guest, and this is what our Awareness Sundays, all things nonprofit, and we're touching on budgets, we're touching about money. We have Miss Star, and trying to get, so if y'all have any friends that want to come on, I'll try to double and add them in and give them. I should have made it automatic approval tonight, but if you have anyone that you think should listen, remember it's only going to be exclusively under all things nonprofit. So I'm just going to bring her in because we have a lot of information to go over. We do have some time for you all to ask questions when you want to. So, the last 15 minutes is what we're going to do. We're going to try to compact all this into an hour. So she's about as passionate as I am. So here we go. Let me bring Miss Star in. Let's see. And I'm getting there. I'm learning.
Hello.
Wow, it works.
Yes, thankfully. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Star. All right. And I'm having to look at my phone at the same time.
Okay.
Sometimes for whatever reason, the names don't show up if someone makes a comment. So
Okay.
it's on track. Let me see how people have media teams, right?
Right. I'm doing all of this.
Right. When I grow up and make a whole lot of money, have a media team.
Right.
All right, stop. All right. So I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of give a little bit about how long you've been doing this and what makes you the expert tonight.
Okay. Well, my name is Star Brumfield, and I've been working in the nonprofit sector since 2004 in different capacities. My all-time favorite happens to be nonprofit accounting. And so I developed a business to help support emerging nonprofits, those that are under about 5 years old, budgets under about $500,000 or so, which is the majority of registered nonprofits in the United States. So I'm really excited. I have worked with executive directors that have really great accounting systems and others not so great. And so my passion is really to come in and simplify and plan and help support them so they really can focus on their mission. So my business, Nonprofit Accounting Bliss, is where I have resources and where you and I connected also after I went to your grant training you did in Nashville. And here I am just to see how I can help support your viewers.
Okay, awesome. Like-mindedness. I told you, people, we exist. Y'all are looking hard enough. There's people aligned with what you do in life.
Right.
So we're kind of going to go into it. And like I said, if you veer off, that's fine. No big deal. We just kind of came up with some common questions for everyone that people seem to ask. And we'll go from there, okay? So our first one is just our simple little question. What is a budget?
A budget. That would scare some people. So essentially a budget, we've heard the term, but what that means to people may be different. And essentially it's an estimate of all your expenses for your nonprofit programs and to run your office and staff and all your expenses, and then all of the revenue sources you expect to come in. And for a budget, it's not a scary word. And it actually has so many benefits, Kathy. I think I like to say it kind of is another way to tell the story of your nonprofit with numbers. When you do your budget, for people who are a little financially savvy. They can interpret those numbers and see just how much in each different revenue category or how much goes to programs. And it really should reflect all your doings in your nonprofit. Should be very clear and concise. So in a nutshell, it's an estimate. It's like you looking forward, just like you've planned your programs forward. You also have to put numbers to all of the activities you're going to do.
Okay. And I'm glad you made that last statement, because I think that's what gets some of the newer ones. It's like it's not something that exists. So where do they get the budget from? But you said that. It's just like planning your programs, you attach numbers to that.
Right.
So
And what's good to keep in mind too is your budget will evolve over time. And I saw this, I was reading an article. Your budget is not just something that you write to get approved by your board or to send for grants and then you put it away. You're managing that budget monthly. You're, looking at what you actually do. So next year, your budget, you can improve and continue to improve. And so the budget really also needs to be reviewed. And for new nonprofits that have no idea where to start, as long as you have a baseline of what you expect to do, then you can just plug in numbers that make sense so you can perform those activities. But it absolutely should be maintained, reviewed, and it's not uncommon halfway through the year to even revise your budget and have your board approve a revision. If you made more revenue than you expected or saved a lot on expenses or vice versa, mid-year you really want to take a hard look and say, okay, let's adjust this so it better reflects what we're going to do the next 6 months.
Okay. Wow.
And you don't have to beat yourself up if you're not 100% on everything in your budget. It's just a tool, to help you operate and know where you're off and where you could celebrate, where you're doing really well.
That makes sense. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. You too. She knows her stuff, you guys. Okay. I'm just kidding. I know she does. Okay. So, you'll see I kind of reformed it a little bit for the public.
That's okay.
Is a budget important for a nonprofit? You kind of said it, but is there anything else you want to say to that?
Well, I would say this, and essentially it helps you not be reactive to a lot of things. You're going to have instances where emergencies come up and you have to make a financial decision, right? But if you have a budget to kind of guide you, that's one of the top reasons. It is like your best friend as an executive director, or a staff, it really is like something you want to be very familiar with. And so it guides your decisions. It absolutely tracks your progress. So whenever you meet with your board, you can be proud of, look, here's our budget and this is how we performed. And then, as you know, Kathy, those grants want a good budget. They don't want a mess budget. And again, it really has to reflect what you write in your grant, what your mission is. If you're feeding, say, the homeless community, then you're going to want to have expenses, even if they're in kind or donated, right? They're going to be part of your budget so that they can see for the meals or transportation costs, like all of that has to match up so that when they're looking at the budget, it aligns with your grant narrative. So those are my 3 big ones for managing, for board reports, and also for grant proposals.
Okay, awesome. I had slid that question in about grants, so you got that one already. Okay, awesome. Okay. Good deal. Okay, so we're moving along here. And here we go. A little more personal.
Yes.
Does a nonprofit need an accountant?
100% yes. I say yes. Now, to what capacity you need an accountant, right? You don't have to have them on your payroll working in your office or wherever. A lot of people will have their accountant for their 990 filings, their tax returns. I think as an emerging kind of newer nonprofit, it's wise to have an accountant you can check in periodically through the year. 2 to 3 times through the year, just so that maybe they can review your financial statements, or you have a list of questions compiled, scenarios that have come up, and you just want to bounce that off of them and get their professional insight. Now, going back to the word budget, that may not be in your budget to year 1 or 2, but I've personally worked with a team of CPAs, and it was so beneficial. Every quarter, I would have a list of questions. Here's what we're, experiencing. This, what do you think about this? And they look at things, and it helped us improve our financial reporting. So, beyond just for your taxes, for your 990, I say yes. Want an accountant on your team.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, for those that say, I don't know an account, I can't afford it. Is there any like software that you recommend, or anything that, even if it's a spreadsheet or something? I don't
To have,
know.
yeah. I do not frown upon starting with a spreadsheet. You can export your bank statement transactions and then code them. If you have less than, say, 25 transactions a month, that's reasonable. I'm partial to QuickBooks because I've been using them since the late 90s, actually. I think 99. Not the online version, but I like QuickBooks, but to be honest, it overwhelms a lot of nonprofits, smaller guys, right? So yes, you can absolutely use an Excel spreadsheet. There are, interestingly, I'm not sure in Nashville, but I've seen where accountants sometimes either discount their services for nonprofits. I've seen it done for audits. Like when you have an audit, we'll in-kind you, say, 25% because you're a nonprofit. We'll donate, so that reduces the cost. I've also seen, now this is fun, it had to do with audits, but it could be also for tax filing. There was a team of newer CPAs that needed experience. And so they came in and worked completely free to help we're in a statewide organization, but they helped us with an audit. They helped with policies and procedures completely free. College students that need a work experience can also help you. I've worked with an intern when I was in Idaho at Boise State that would come in and help me with accounting things as a project. So you may be able to get support from someone that has more knowledge about accounting, but not have to pay, the big bucks right off. So depending on your situation, I feel like you can get creative.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have to research wherever you are. I know some of your viewers are out of state, a good number are out of state. So if you have a statewide association, that's a question you can ask them as well for a referral. Absolutely.
And I know that pretty much everyone that I know, where they are, there's a university. And nonprofit management is becoming very popular. So they even have accountants on that level, grad school. So, it's all kind of programs.
Right. You can ask for a volunteer, an intern, just to get some of the basics or whatever. But they won't be able to do the full-on audit, like an approved certified audit for you. But they can go through the exercise, like if there's a weakness in your organization or they have an observation about your systems or financials, it's a good starting place.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I know that if they're doing an intern, a lot of times there's still someone that's over them or overseeing.
Right.
So that kind of helps too. Or if they're working in the office of them. Actually, my first meetup, my local meetup here in Nashville, there was a young lady that came, and it was a group of nonprofits, not nonprofits, there were nonprofit accountants that were in a group, and they actually offered discounts.
There you go.
Some that don't know what CPAs charge might not think it was, but I was like, that's pretty good.
Right.
To actually get even as the higher level of an audit that would be able to do it. So there's some research, I guess, because we have the nonprofit management, the big group here, the nonprofit.
Center management. Yeah.
So maybe that's why we have those kind of resources. Okay.
And
so
then
it
also,
sounds like,
I was going to say, as you were saying, you do meetups. And for those of your viewers that do get around other directors or staff, support staff, ask them how they, ask your fellow peers or colleagues, how do you go about your accounting? Who do you work with? And just one side note, you don't have to go with the first pick all the time. It's nice to get like 2 proposals or interview at least 2 different people, right?
Yeah.
And understand their references and such, because it's serious business. So
yeah, and just being transparent, I guess they call it. The purpose of this group being created, a large majority of us are African American, and for whatever reason, you often hear the resources aren't there. So for whatever reason, that going to another nonprofit, it might take a while for them. Now, I don't get it, but I'm pretending I'm that person. And they might have trouble knowing even where to look, how to look, and how to go. I understand, like we're saying, the Center for Nonprofit Management, most of their training is during the day. And of course, small nonprofit, they might still be working a job, a full-time job. So they're not able to go around that environment during the day. Thus, the local meetup. So I get it, but I'm trying to cut through. You gave a lot of information that, whatever, even down to a spreadsheet, even down to having interns. We have major universities here. I know Orlando does, Chicago. Trying to think of some of the other major cities that people are in, even in North Carolina. So there's really no excuse not to have someone with even more experience than we do in accounting and still have someone to back that up. And I want to tell you all, it applies to our household. Everything that Star is saying, I want to get that plug in. I made that mistake one day, and I was telling somebody, "Don't you know what a budget is?" And they were like, "No." I was like, like you make a certain amount of money, you don't write a budget to see how much you can pay for the. No. So apparently that is a common problem in America.
Well, I think it's just the mindset. A lot of it is a mindset. And when people see the value of, and actually I had one of my clients, she told me, Star, you'd be so proud. I was able to do the budget for all our programs. And because my thing is, let me empower you, let me give you a few tools so that you get it's so exhilarating. I'll be honest, Kathy, when you nail it. At first, it may be a little scary, but once you get the groove of it all and you have the mindset, like, this is important. I'm going to commit to doing a budget, to tracking the budget, for such period of time. You won't turn back. You'll be it's huge. But again, you've got to maintain it and have a willing heart to do it.
Right. And you all hear, she said heart. She didn't say a brain, IQ, a genius. She said a heart.
Yeah,
but seriously, I'm making fun of that, but seriously, I know it's that simple. Most of the things that you and I both do, because we could talk between us, just on and on and on about this empowerment and how many things that you wanted, you don't have the money to pay the higher level expert or the person, or even our fees. So there has to be some sense of responsibility and changing that mindset to do the things that you can do until you get to that level of scaling where you will hire someone to for your nonprofit organization. So
and I believe in baby steps. Be reasonable. Like, you don't have to take it all at once. It may just be, let me master this one program budget and be a good steward of that, and then keep going. But for sure, all nonprofits should have a budget. Even, again, for the newer ones that have no idea where to start somewhere, right? Just simple.
I tell them if it's zero for the expenses, because you're doing it out of home and you're just have a mentoring program, get in the habit of doing it. That's one of the things I did ever since I started businesses in my 20s. I was just so excited of playing like I had a business. I would do a budget and didn't know. I'm just writing the numbers, and then you didn't match it. You just say 0, 0, 0. But once you get in a habit, it comes so natural. So when you do, get that $1 million.
Right.
Because
Right.
everybody says it usually comes at one time. Is it, you do a little bit, that's life in general. You do a
Uh-huh.
little bit, you take those baby steps, and then all of a sudden, there's that big leap where you want to be prepared before that big leap comes. So,
Right.
yeah, okay, okay. Good stuff. Well, actually, let me see. I think I just made a general, yeah, just anything. Let me look here, make sure I don't see any questions, but anything else you think is important? While viewers out here.
Yeah, I was looking at the chat box. It would pop up here, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to look on my phone. I had to go back in, and it's not.
Well, while you're doing that, and you
Mhm.
may have heard me, Kathy, recently say this. I think I was doing a live, but we budget all the time in our lives without even thinking of it as a budget.
Yeah.
We estimate, I've used the example, how long it's going to take me to get from here to there. That's a form of budgeting. It's estimating your time. Or when you're making a big meal for a lot of people, you have to estimate how long this takes, how many ingredients. We deal in numbers in our personal life so much, but converting that to your business, your nonprofit, sometimes there's
Mhm.
a block. And so my hope is to help show there's simple ways to tackle it.
Mhm.
There's ways to go about it, and it's really, really necessary. So,
Okay. Okay. Well, so far I do not see any questions.
okay.
Making sure I'm on here right. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. Yeah, I've refreshed a few times. So it doesn't matter if you all watch the replay, or you come up with any questions later. Stars in our group. So just post your questions, and we'll both will get notification. But I'm going to give Star, kick in at any time if anyone has any questions. But what are you able to offer, or how can they come to work with you, or have you work with them? How does that work? Even though
Right.
you're empowering, what do you do that can help them out?
Well, one of the ways we can connect is either because we're doing this posting through Facebook. I do have a Facebook page
Mhm.
and a website, and there I put several tools and links and things, videos, but it's all based, I'm really excited. It's all based on a 12-month calendar that has an
Mhm.
accounting theme each month. So we're in September. If your nonprofit has a calendar year, in other words, January to December, then we're all about team budgeting right now. And there are a lot of educational based nonprofits that go fiscal year July to June.
Okay.
So, but essentially the information still applies. So between the Facebook page
Mhm.
or website, mpaccountingbliss.com, you can
Okay.
get free resources there. And next month in October, I'm doing a 5-day budget challenge, and it's no cost for that.
Okay.
um, some of the launches for some of the more extensive programs are happening toward the end of the year to prepare us for 2020. So on the Facebook page, and maybe we can link that. I can figure out how to put it in the chat. Um,
Okay.
there's a join list at the
Yes.
bottom. You know how they have the columns at the bottom there. You can do it that way, or again, go to mpaccountingbliss.com, and there I have updates. But when you sign up, you'll get that full one-page full year of accounting themes. And
Oh.
so
Okay.
that's one of the offers for those viewers that are feeling a little stuck or just want some extra nurturing through the process, someone to talk
Mhm.
to. For all your viewers, I typically do a 30-minute discovery type conversation, complimentary, but I will extend another 30 minutes if you want me to look at your drafted budget, if you have questions,
Mhm.
because when I launch next month, Kathy, I'll have a budget template and a
Okay.
video that walks you through.
Okay.
And so part of what we're going to talk about today is the how of budgeting, right? We've got the what and the why, but how do you come up with a budget? And there are resources on that Facebook page. But if we have a minute, I don't know if any questions popped up. I can give you a little.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So the how, one thing, and I do completely understand people are at different levels in their nonprofit. Some may be all volunteer based. Some may have one employee and a lot of volunteers, whatever it looks like. You still want to have your budget. And if someone on your board is willing to also work with you, my point is to have more than one person involved in the budget. Don't leave it all to the executive director. They're going to have the oversight and they're going to have really good understanding of the budget, but you want to have at least 2 people working on it. Have a time frame with some milestones to do the budget, ideally by the end of October, before we hit holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. You want to have that drafted budget ready for your board to approve. And the little formula, this is so simple. You might even laugh. Hopefully not. But I have a formula. I call it my NTN.
Okay.
I'm going to basically look at now, then, and next when you're creating your budget. Okay. So your now is really assessing in this current year up to now, where are your shortfalls? Where are your victories? Just really kind of look at if something's really off. Now, I say like a 25% variance, say, I'll give you a simple example. Say you budgeted $10,000 in individual giving, right? People write checks, they have monthly draft, whatever that is. And you're only at about 60,000 of your goal. We still have a few months in the year, don't get me wrong, but you're not quite at the level where you want to be this time of year. You should be at like at least $7,000-$8,000. So then you want to look at where you are now. Again, the N. You want to look at and narrate. How are you going to recover that money? Do you need to shift your budget? What are you going to do about that? So on December 31st, you're not having a panic attack because you didn't hit that number.
Right.
Look at it now, where you are now. So all of those little areas that you exceeded or you didn't quite make, you want to make sure you're notating, taking notes, because that's going to play into the budget you do for 2020. So you look at your now, you look at your then, look at last year. How did you perform with your budget last year? And same thing, just to look at the history of things and see if there's anything off or something you may want to introduce. Again, say you took it off the table, you're going to introduce, be familiar with how you did last year. And then finally, I said NTN, right? Now, then, next. Next is you're going to put on your visionary hat.
Okay.
You're going to look into the future and say, what do I want for my organization for 2020? Do we need to increase our programs? Do we need to add staff? Do we need to shift locations? Whatever you foresee for next year, note that. And once you have those bases, those budget narratives, and you can pull all that together. And like you said earlier, the spreadsheet, I'm talking Excel. I always start in Excel. Even though I convert it to QuickBooks, Excel is another best friend, right?
Okay.
So and this will be in the template, like I said, for that 5-day challenge next month. But you can do this on your own. You want to have all of your account categories, your expenses, your revenue. You're going to have columns with however many programs. If you have 2 programs, they each have their own column. Your general, right, management, and then your fundraising. How much? And then you go line by line, and you want to plug in the numbers to get you to accomplish your program goals, to make sure your administrative stuff is covered, fundraising efforts. How much in fundraising are you going to earn? How much time are you going to spend? Like all of that goes into your budget.
Right.
Then it has to be broken down. And as you know, on Excel, you can add a little comment. Don't just plug in random numbers, right?
Right.
2 months, you're like, why did I write $20,000 for individual giving when last year was 10? No, you've got to notate. You've hopefully been nurturing, relationships with people, and maybe you have pledges on the horizon you anticipate. Well, click the little comment in Excel and notate that for future reference. And so, that may sound like a lot. I feel like I'm. No, it makes
No,
sense.
You're fine. You're fine. I mean, I understand those that are visual will have to see it,
Right.
but at least they heard it.
Right.
So when they see it, it's going to make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for those, and I wonder, whoever's watching, how many of you have never done a grant but plan to in 2020? Because I don't know if anyone's able to comment right now, but essentially your grant will not only want to know your full organization budget, they want to know your project or program budget. So having that breakdown is so important. And again, all of that I convert into QuickBooks. That's my preferred financial software. But another thing, if I can just take it up one little level. Am I overwhelming you, Kathy? I know I'm not.
You're fine. There'll be look. The beauty of Facebook Lives is when someone goes back through, they can stop it, rewind, stop it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, one common mistake. Okay, there's two.
Okay.
If we have time for this. One, we'll get back to the columns on this one.
Okay.
So as you know, on your 990, you're going to have your programs, how much your expenses for all your programs, how much for general management, and how much for fundraising.
Yes.
Those, believe it or not, donors will look at that. Grant makers will look at that. As an accountant, I look at that. I want to know how much of your money goes to programs versus general. And you guys have heard a lot of, probably in the news over the years, this organization spends 70% in administrative,
Right.
And you need to know your numbers, because again, grant applications, I've seen more than once. What's your percentage of overhead or admin costs? How much do you spend on management? Like, when you're going through this budget exercise, you can very easily see. And statistically, I was looking this up a while back, the public thinks your general, like administrative expenses, should be about 23%, no more than 37%. And a lot of organizations don't know that number. It's one thing to have a full organizational budget, but when you have a segmented budget for each program, general management, and your fundraising, that's strong. I mean, you're ahead of the game. I don't care if you only make $20,000 in donations for the whole year. Know your numbers. And so that's one big mistake I see. And another one, Kathy, you'll maybe appreciate this. All the donated time, all the donated goods you get, professional services, advertising, that should be part of your budget. And this is, let me give you a flash forward why. Say your organization gets a facility donated for after school program. I'm thinking of one in my head, but just say you get, 3 hours a day, 4 days a week, right? You get 12 hours a week in this facility, almost 50 hours a month. That organization that hosts or that provides this donated facility is going a different direction in 2020. You have never, ever written down your donated facility value. You've never budgeted for it. That could turn a small nonprofit upside down if they don't have that information to know and go by. If now they have to pay, how much are facilities? Like, maybe depending on where you are, $50 an hour, maybe.
On the low end,
Right, or whatever it is, and you need one for 50 hours a month. That's $2,500 a month. But you've never even realized the value. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm yelling. I'm just passionate, y'all. I'm just.
They should be used to me. You're fine.
I'm like, is my microphone hopefully got?
You're fine.
But no, sorry. But now come on, y'all. If you've never really tracked your donated facility, again, facility, professional service, advertising, goods, do people donate after school snacks to your organization? Do you track the value of that every month? Those are kind of next level things, not to overwhelm you, but keep that seed in your head, because you want to get to the point where you have a full picture.
Yes.
Again, going back to the beginning of this interaction, Kathy, this tells your story.
Yes.
And I recently talked to a grant manager that said they have what is it, like metrics they use when they analyze the financials that go with grants. They said our budget was very strong. And I'm not saying that to toot my horn, but I mean, you should see some of the budgets. Okay. It's basically what she said. But you have to know that for those of you who are in the world of grant writing too, they're looking deeply at these numbers. And they may come back with a question. Can you answer that question? Did you forget something, like the donated facilities, So anyway, it can be so much fun. So much fun.
Right. Only to us, I think.
What? What's that?
To us, probably.
Yeah.
Until they're on the positive side. But that makes sense. I think most do forget those items of value.
Right.
I also say it will not prevent, but it kind of keeps the audit, the unexpected audit from happening. That one that we all don't look forward to, that investigative audit.
Right.
Because how do you justify getting a certain amount of money, and then so you've gone from here to all of a sudden you're going to accommodate for for renting a facility, but you never showed that you were already getting it in kind.
Right.
So I think that kind of pulls them off of you a little bit, because you're showing that you were doing it, but it was donated.
Right.
Now it's not that you changed that, but it's that now you have to pay for it.
Right.
So it makes sense. It's kind of, I think it goes back to, and I have a tendency to overwhelm people too, but we have to say the basics sometimes hasn't been taken care of. So when they did their 1023, you guys, that's your just applying for your nonprofit tax exempt status.
Right.
Not putting a salary matters.
Uh-huh.
It's like you don't just say zero, and because you got money, now you're going to all of a sudden show salaries. There's a way to show your value for the hours that you are working,
right,
and for anyone else in your organization. If it's donated time, it's donated time, but we want to show that as well. And that comes into what you were saying with the professionals, but even for teachers or whatever, they might not be professionals, but maybe it's normally $10 an hour or $15 an hour for an assistant.
Right.
I'm thinking a lot of people have mentoring programs on this level of small nonprofit. Then add that up. That will come in handy. So when you do get money and you want to say, I'm going to pay them this week that $200, you've already shown that's what you would have been paying if you had money anyway. So I get it. Yeah.
Right. And one thing that I found, because you go back to some of the nonprofit emerging, I like to say smaller but emerging, right? Some of them, they may work a full-time job, but yet they do weekend programs or after school, like you said, mentoring, tutoring, whatnot. If your capacity is fairly limited, at the very least, do it on a quarterly basis. Every 3 months, go in deep with it. Keep downloading all your transactions for the month on your spreadsheet and, having a good handle on that. But for some of these more time-consuming tasks that aren't your normal process or that overwhelm you, just every 3 months, make a commitment. This is part of my checklist that I will do. Calculating the donated time, and make sure you're thanking those who give you donated time and service. So yeah, there's ways to make it.
My sister, I should thank them, right?
Was that your sister?
So even if it's my brother or my sister,
sure.
So get in the habit.
Yes, I think so, because people get burnt out, especially if they feel appreciated and valued. There's so many creative ways that
It
you
is.
can show your gratitude for what they're doing. And if you're looking at the value of what they're doing, if you could be writing that check to someone else right now, but yet you have someone willing to donate to your organization, absolutely thank them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that goes back to, I want to bring that out because you mentioned perception, and just how changing that mindset of budget and just that whole thing about numbers, that some people have this barricade of fear,
Right.
without even knowing what it's about.
Right.
That I just totally lost my thought because I got excited.
Mindset fear.
But yeah, when I'm saying the mindset change, I know it has to do with that, and it has to do with this budget. I know it has to do with that.
We were talking about thanking people, and then you
I know.
took,
Yes, yes. So
yeah,
a lot of founders are pulling from their own pockets.
yes,
And as you mentioned, snacks. So I'm like, we have to get in the perception of thinking of the nonprofit being an entity all by itself. So
right,
you are donating to that nonprofit entity. So if the snacks were given, you bought the milk, you bought the juice, the pizza, or whatever, count all of that.
right,
Yeah, even if you don't take the donation, take the deduction on your tax report, your own personal, still show that that's what's been given.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and I think we have trouble, like we're saying, it's our family. We don't always thank them like we should. And they know I appreciate them.
Right,
No, it's still
right,
their time. We have to value any human being's time that they give to us.
right. And there's creative ways to do it, where
Mhm.
it's very meaningful and genuine. It's not just like a thank you card. I mean, thank you cards are great, but it's not just begrudging, I've got to do this. So, but yeah, it's, and just knowing that this is your financial report, your budget, all of that pulls into a story. And a lot of
Mhm.
people don't know how to read the story of financials and budgeting, and that's okay to be a little illiterate when it comes to that initially, right? To
Right.
not really know. Um, but having that desire and seeing the value of doing it, and truthfully, it is transformative once it clicks. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. Well, good stuff. I still don't see any questions, and you guys, you don't understand, both of us. Like, it is really restraining trying to talk about budgets. Like,
Ah,
go for hours.
I know I could keep going, but this
Yeah,
is supposed to be the essentials,
right.
basic.
What we want to try to do is just understand that Miss Star actually, except we're more about empowering people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to get to the level of what her fees or what my fees should be, you can't take that many clients. So I think going forward, what we'll try to do is maybe once a month or as her house, let her do a subject around, accounting. Because as we were talking, I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot we could talk about, but not to overwhelm you all. And
Mm,
just a little bit at a time. As I did the sponsorship, she'll come back as well.
good.
We'll go together because even dealing with sponsorships, what are they going to need to know about? The numbers.
Right.
The budget is going to be important in all areas of a nonprofit organization. So I'm stalling. Do you have anything else that, trying to restrain and keep it to budget?
No, we did good on time. We're ready
You
for questions.
did. I'm learning. I have both clocks in front.
I was gonna say, do questions. Question. Let me think of a question I get.
Okay.
Really, we kind of covered it. Where to start? You talked about software. It depends on the particular organization, what their needs
Okay.
are. Um, I
Well, let me ask you this. I'll give you a challenge. I'm going to send her a link to Wave Apps. And then
okay.
she's going to compare. Another accountant was the one who bought that out. And it was a score workshop. And he actually was like, if you really don't want to spend any money, you go to Wave Apps. And what I noticed it is a community. They do have accountants there. So that's another way to get on a low budget to get
Right.
accountants to help you out. Some of them are retired and they're just
Oh
in that
wow.
community. So there's different levels of it, and then there's just community where you just ask questions because you're stuck on a certain line, and they'll answer those as well. But from my knowledge, my little knowledge, I'm not that expert in accounts either. But my knowledge of QuickBooks, using QuickBooks, I didn't find it any more or less challenging. Maybe
Good.
the categories were more challenging in QuickBooks. Wave apps already had it,
Wow.
but the same concept of connecting to the bank.
Right.
Um, I deal with a CPA now, and you know what? You guys, when you take it, are going to do certain things like you wanted to know. Well, what was this uncategorized? Well, that's because we didn't know how to reconcile. Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
we
Right.
can still go and see what that was, and then he can just tell us the category to put it in. But I was able to do the P&L, the profit and loss, and all those things. And it might sound foreign to everybody, but
Uh-huh.
a lot of times that's what the accountant does at the end of the day once. Because even with a nonprofit, I tell everyone it's run like a business. So you want to see if there's any profit margins or at least you're financially balanced.
Right.
So what's coming in is going out, vice versa. But all of that can be done because you connected it to your bank account.
Right.
So if you did nothing else, even Star could go in there and do it, and they can it even downloads into, you have your choice. It'll do the PDF, or it'll do the regular. They don't call it Excel. What is it? CDS or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll do that, which looks like a spreadsheet to me, but Excel, whatever.
Mhm.
But it'll do either or and save that way. So we'll give her an assignment to look at it and
Mhm.
what she found, because I know people that love QuickBooks, they love QuickBooks. And some of
Yeah.
those other, I think it was Peachtree back in the day. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, yeah. It was.
Whatever those others are, I hear people, they do not want to move off of them. But, sometimes you have to, it's like all of us, you're used to what you're used to.
Right.
So when you open your eyes and just, like I said, it's free.
Right. Well, I looked at about 3 different ones. And like I said, I am partial to QuickBooks, but I know things, I want to expand my mind to other things. I've used Xero before. I've had other nonprofits in our forum, XERO.
I've heard of that
Was
recently.
another one, and it's a fee, but it's much less than QuickBooks. And I'm not a representative of QuickBooks by any means, but there is, if you go through TechSoup, you can save a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done a live on that.
Whole year or something like that.
What was it?
It's about $50 for the whole
Yes,
year. The TechSoup. Yeah.
that's right. Because monthly they've gone up to about $60 or $70 in the last 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
Whether you're a nonprofit or not,
Yeah.
it's expensive. Depending on the volume of work you do in QuickBooks. But yeah, I'm gonna check them out for sure.
Okay. And so I'm gonna post in the comments. Oh, I can't do it now, but I'll try to do it in our description,
Okay.
along with the links to your page, Star, and
Okay.
whatever else we can link to where they can go direct. But everybody on here, if you have a nonprofit, even for the churches, if you're considered a nonprofit, and they might do it even just being a church, TechSoup is just an awesome. I guess they're a nonprofit too, but they offer discounts of various software.
Right.
And there's another one, and I'll talk about that another time because it doesn't have
Yes.
to do with numbers. But those are the two that I always hear about. But TechSoup, you guys, all kind of discounts on software. If you have your graphic designers or someone who wants to come in and you're training, letting the youth do it, you can literally get Adobe and some other things that are discounted that I see come through. Even if they're not offered today, just get the newsletter.
Right. And I think they do equipment, Kathy, as well. Have you ever, are you still there? Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Oh, no.
Because Christina Foundation will have a lot of equipment as well. But yeah, their music TechSoup is electronic.
Okay.
Anything, software, anything, digital, anything. Yeah, it's different companies that will partner with them. So
awesome.
Don't say you didn't get anything free or you didn't, no resources. I think we gave you a lot. We gave you
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, like I said, if they sign up on the website or through Facebook, I would say what's today, the 22nd, between now and September 25th, I'll extend an hour
Okay.
phone time. I'll review your budget, give you some insights. If you have any questions,
Okay.
I would be more than happy to. I already have an appointment scheduler, but I'll be looking at who signs up. And when
Yeah.
you do sign up, you'll get that full month by month calendar of nonprofit accounting things.
Okay.
And then you'll find out when we do the 5-day challenge in October and get the template going. I already have the template ready, but I want to have the video to go
Okay.
with it. And so we'll do a 5-day free challenge. So,
Okay, y'all hear that now. Don't have working for nothing.
yes, no,
If you don't get it, somebody else is gonna pay her for it. So you all get it while you can now. Free. Push yourself. Try to just go through the budget challenge. I'm learning about these challenges, and yes, it's
yeah,
a challenge when you don't know how to do something. But
right,
when you come across that 5 days, oh my goodness, it is so worth it. And understand people are not charging for these challenges, and what Star is often that's a professional level. So,
Mhm.
let's do this. I'm gonna make sure it gets posted in that description, and we'll
Okay,
get the exact link so they won't have to think about it. You just click the link and you'll get to
right,
her page and to the offer as well.
perfect.
All right.
All right.
Anything else? Okay. So,
And we did it without any technology issues throughout. I was
right.
concerned our first time.
I kept be live for a while because even when I do have some issues, I usually have some workarounds I can do real quick.
Right.
Have support that's helping me. So
Good.
we're good tonight anyway. I'm
Yes.
in a good place. I have Wi-Fi.
Good. Good. Well, thank you for having me, Kathy. I love what you
Oh, my
do.
pleasure.
And we'll connect some more if any questions come through the replay, y'all. We'll address that. And like you said, if we can do it on a monthly basis, as long as you all have questions and interest in accounting,
Yes,
I will be here with Kathy again.
yes. All right. Thank
All
you.
right. Good night, all.
Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.